Welcome to Amit Thinks YouTube channel. In this video course, learn about Python Matplotlib. Matplotlib is an open source plotting library developed by John D. Hunter. Create interactive visualizations in Python with Matplotlib. It is one of the most popular libraries for data visualization and data science in Python. We all know that visualizations are far better than textual data. It is easy to understand. Using Matplotlib, we can easily create graphs, histograms, pie chart, scatter plot, and many other graphs. In this course, we have covered the following lessons with live running examples. Let us start with the first lesson. In this lesson, we will learn what is Matplotlib. Matplotlib is basically a Python library that allows you to create interactive visualization that includes your line graph, bar graph, pie chart, area plot, scatter plot, and others. It is an open source plotting library, okay, and it is considered as one of the most popular library for data visualization in Python. It was developed by John D. Hunter, okay. So if in Python you need to create a pie chart, an area plot, scatter plot, histogram, line graph, and other charts, then use the Matplotlib library. It has some features, okay. I told you before, it is a free and open source Python library. It has some built-in functions that allow you to easily load and plot the data. You can also load your pandas data frame in it and plot. Okay, if you want to create interactive figures, you can easily achieve this with Matplotlib. Also add features like to zoom, pan, okay, zoom and pan. To create a figure is easy with Matplotlib, but if you want the output in a format like PNG, even PDF or SVG, then you can easily export. This feature allows you to easily export your output, your figure, in different file formats that I just mentioned. Matplotlib also allow you to use various third-party packages that basically extends the functionality of Matplotlib. Like you can use the base map and Cartopy. These allow you to work on maps. If you want to draw a map for data analysis, you can easily achieve this with Cartopy. So these features make Matplotlib a very powerful Python library for data visualization and to create figures. We will work around all these features in the coming lectures. Thank you for watching the video. In this lesson, we will learn how to install and set up the Matplotlib library. So to install Matplotlib, we will use the PyCharm IDE. PyCharm provides an open source and free version, that is the community edition. So we will install Matplotlib on PyCharm and run our programs. Let us see the steps now to install Matplotlib. At first, we will download and install Python and pip. Pip is a package manager used to download, install and manage Python packages. So we will install both first, the current version in step 1. After that, in step 2, we will install the open source version of PyCharm, which is freely available, that is PyCharm Community Edition. Then in the third step, we will connect the first and second step, that is Python and PyCharm. In the fourth step, what we will do, we will run our first Python program on PyCharm to understand how PyCharm works. Then comes the last step and the key step, that is to install Matplotlib on PyCharm, so that we can begin with our first Matplotlib program. So guys, let us start with the first step. To download and install the current Python and pip version, let's start. We will download and install the current Python version. At first, go to the web browser. On Google, type Python and press enter. On pressing enter, the official website is visible. Click on it, python.org. Here is the official website. Now keep the mouse cursor on downloads. Now you can see the current version Python 3.12.0 is visible. Click on it to download. It will download. It's only 25 MB. Download completed. Now right click and click on open to start installing Python. We clicked on the exe file, minimize. Now the setup started. Here and at first select add python.exe to path. Now click customize installation. This shows what we are installing. It will install pip also. Pip is used to download, install and manage Python packages. It will also install IDLE. IDLE is an ID to run Python programs. Now click next. Advanced option, it will install Python 3.12 for all users. It will also set the environment variables. Okay. And Python will get installed in the following location under program files. Keep it a default. You can change it from here by clicking browse. But keep it as it is, no problem. Click install. Now the installation started. Guys, we have successfully installed Python. Click close. Now let us verify the installation. Go to start, type cmd. Click open to open the command prompt. Herein type the command python space -- version and press enter. This shows that we successfully installed Python. Guys, we successfully installed the current Python version. Now we will install PyCharm. For that, go to the web browser. I am using Chrome. You can use any web browser. Herein type PyCharm and press enter. On pressing enter, the PyCharm is visible. It is owned by JetBrains. Click on it. Now we have reached the official website here. Now you can directly click download here, or you can also click download. Let's click. Herein you can see PyCharm Professional is visible, which is for a 30-day trial. Then you need to pay, but we are going for the free version, that is the community. And here it is. You can download it from here. It is freely available and open source, so you can use it. Exe file download. Click on it. Now the download will begin. Here it is. The download started. It's only 418 MB. Let's wait. We have downloaded it. The exe file for PyCharm, community version, free version. Right click and click open to begin the installation. Minimize. The installation started. Click next. Now it is asking wherein PyCharm will get installed. It will get installed in the following location. Keep it as it is, and it will take 1.5 GB. Click next. Desktop shortcut, yes, we can create. Update context menu. You can add a folder to project so that you can open any folder as project. Rest keep as it is and click next. Start menu folder, yes, click install, and now the setup will begin. The desktop shortcut also got created. Now let's wait for this to complete. We have completed the PyCharm setup. I can also select run PyCharm community edition and click finish so that it begins, but I'll only click finish. So in this way we can install PyCharm. Now let us open PyCharm and connect Python with PyCharm. You can also go to start and type PyCharm instead of going for the shortcut. Here it is, community edition, click open. Now PyCharm will open for the first time. Here in the terms are visible. I confirm. Click continue. Data sharing. PyCharm opened for the first time. You can go to customize and here in select, let's say light theme or dark theme. I'll go for light theme. and rest keep as it is. Go to projects, click new project. Here you can see our project will get saved here. If you want to change the name of the project, you can change from here. Let's say I'll name it Amit project. Okay. Now you need to set the environment. It will go for the virtual environment, a new environment, which is fine. The base interpreter you need to set, it is only showing Python 3.9 and 3.10. Click on the three dots. Program files wherein we installed Python 3.12. Click on it. Select python.exe and click OK. Here it is. We have set Python 3.12 now. You can see we have set it. We have connected our Python with PyCharm. Okay. Remove this because we are creating a sample program. Click create. Okay, here is our project. I clicked here for the menus. Okay, now this is our project. This is our environment. Now we need to add a new Python file to run our first Python program. I'll right click on Amit project. Click new and herein select Python file directly. It will automatically go for .py extension. Herein add the name of your Python file and press enter. It will create demo.py. Here it is. Now you can directly run your first project. Let's say I'll just print something. Okay, I'll go for file, save all. Right click and click run demo. Here it is. Studiopedia is visible. Okay, that means we successfully printed using the print method in Python. Here it is, Studiopedia. You can also run using run here, click run demo, or you can use Shift F10 or Alt plus Shift plus F10. Okay, you can also increase the font by going to File, Settings. Here in appearance is visible, go for Editor and click Font. Here in the font is only 13. Let me take it to 18 and click OK. Click Apply, then OK. Now the font will increase. Here it is. Even the output font is also 18 and the editor font also. With that you can check the location also. Here it is. C users Amit underscore PyCharm projects. C users Amit underscore, that is the username. Here it is PyCharm projects Amit project. Here is a demo.py file. With that you can also go to the file option and click settings. Okay, and select the project and the interpreter to verify again that you have set 3.12 or not for our project, and yes, we have set the same 3.12 for our project. We successfully installed Python, pip and PyCharm, and we also ran a sample Python program on PyCharm. Now let us see how to install the matplotlib library on PyCharm. So here was our project, a sample project, Amit project. So to install any library, go to File, click Settings. After clicking Settings, go to your project here and click Python Interpreter. After that, click on the plus sign to install. You can see install is visible. Click the plus sign and type the library you wish to install. I have typed matplotlib and it is visible here. It is a Python plotting package. Click install package. Now it will install. Here package installed, package matplotlib installed successfully. Click close. Now you can see the same is visible here, the same message, and matplotlib installed. Click OK. And that's it, guys. In this way we can install matplotlib on PyCharm. So guys, we successfully installed Python, pip, PyCharm and Matplotlib. Now we will move towards the next lessons and understand how to run our first Matplotlib program. Thank you for watching the video. In this lesson, we will learn what is a PyPlot submodule in Matplotlib. With that, we will also run our first Matplotlib program. Okay, we installed the Matplotlib library. To work on it, we need to understand the PyPlot submodule. Okay, so this module is having a lot of Matplotlib functionalities that actually extends the features of Matplotlib. Okay, you need to import it like we import any library in a Python program, like import pandas, import NumPy. In the same way, we need to import Matplotlib. And to import the PyPlot submodule, since it is a submodule, you need to write matplotlib.pyplot. Okay, that's it. After that, you can use the as keyword to mention the alias. With this PyPlot submodule, we can create a bar plot, histogram, even a pie chart or a scatter plot. We will see all these later, but first we will run our first Matplotlib program using the module PyPlot. Okay, so let us see the example. We are using the PyCharm IDE. PyCharm provides a free and open source PyCharm Community Edition. We will use the same to run Matplotlib programs. Since we already installed Matplotlib, create a new project, go to File, New Project, mention the project name. Let's say I'll add Matplotlib PyPlot. Okay, and this is the location of the project. You can add any name for your project. R is Matplotlib PyPlot, and I'll click create. Now our project will get created. Here we have created. Okay, now let us create our first file, Python file, wherein we will run our first Matplotlib program. Right click, new Python file. Add the name of the file. Let's say I'll add demo1. It will automatically add the .py extension because the Python file is by default selected. You just need to press enter. So we have pressed enter. In this example, we will run our first Matplotlib program, and we will also see how to work with the PyPlot submodule. So first we will import Matplotlib because we need to work on the PyPlot submodule to run our first Matplotlib program. So what I'll do, I'll import Matplotlib first. Since PyPlot is a submodule, after Matplotlib mention dot, and it will show you the PyPlot, press enter and create an alias also, so that you don't need to write, so that there is no need to write this completely again and again. So we have our PLT alias. Now let us create a line in Matplotlib. For that I'll also import NumPy, let's say, for the X and Y axis. Okay, need to import NumPy. We also created an alias for NumPy. Now I'll just mention the X and Y coordinates since we need to create a line. So I'll create a variable, let's say X points NumPy, that is NP. We created an alias. Add array values for X and Y axis. That's it. And this is for Y coordinates, Y PTS. We created a new array object, numpy.array. So we also added the Y axis. That's it. Now plot using the PyPlot submodule. Okay, so we will use the method. First we will use PLT, that is from the following alias dot plot. Okay, plot method, and just mention your X and Y coordinates. That's it. and display the figure. plt dot show method. That's it. Now go to file, save all, right click, run demo1. It has created a line according to our x and y coordinates. We have set the x and y coordinates using numpy.array. We created two array objects for x and y coordinates. You can also save this from here, save the figure. You can save anywhere. Let's say you can save it on the desktop and you can name it. Okay, I have saved it. Here it is, you can open it. Okay, so here was our first matplotlib program with pyplot. Okay, here it is. Guys, we saw how we can run our first matplotlib program. We worked on the pyplot submodule. Thank you for watching the video. In this lesson, we will learn how to plot a line with data frame. That is, we will plot a line in matplotlib. For the inputs, we will use the pandas data frame. Pandas is also a Python library. It is also one of the most powerful libraries for data science and data analysis like matplotlib. So for the x and y input for our line, we will consider a data frame, pandas data frame. Let us see. For our data frame, we will import pandas just like we imported matplotlib, and we will also create an alias for it using the as keyword, just like we did in the last example for matplotlib. Now you would be wondering what is a data frame. So in pandas, generally we store data in the form of data frame or series. Like you want to store your CSV file or your Excel file or your dataset, I can say. So a data frame is basically a two-dimensional tabular data, like a table that consists of rows and columns. So we will see an example. We will first create a data frame and will fed that data frame input into our line so that we can plot a line using matplotlib and pandas. For matplotlib, like the last example, we will use the pyplot submodule like this, and we will create an alias plt for that. Let's see. So in our example, we will first create a data frame, a pandas data frame. I told you we are creating a pandas data frame with, let's say, 3 columns. These are our columns for basically cricket data, like a cricket bat manufacturers and its cost MRP and its weight. These columns of the data frame of the pandas data frame will be used as the input of our plot method, that is the coordinates. So out of these three, we will take 2 columns and we will feed it as a input for the plot method. Here it is, we have done that. For the plot method, to draw a line, we need x and y coordinates. So for the x, we have set the following MRP, and for the y, we have set the weight underscore grams. You will understand the concept more when we will see the exact example. So let's see. So here is our PyCharm ID. We are using the free and open source PyCharm Community Edition. Let me create a new project for this example. Go to File, click New Project. Here enter the project name. Let's say I'll mention matplotlib, let's say line data frame. Okay, this is fine. Plot line data frame. Okay, you can add any name and the project will get saved here. No problem. Click create. We have created our project. Now let us create our Python file to run our program. Right click on the project, new Python file. Set the name of the Python file, I have set it demo1. When I'll press enter, it will automatically add a .py extension because the Python file is by default selected. Press enter. So now here is our file demo1.py. So here is our example. I'll first import matplotlib. We have imported matplotlib. Now we will use the pyplot module .pyplot as add an alias plt. Now import pandas because we will use the data frame input, the pandas data frame input. Import pandas. Now add an alias pd. We have added an alias. Now I'll set the data. Okay, let's say data is equal to, add your data. First I'll add the column name. Let's say my first column name is the cricket bat, the company. So here I've created records for 6 bats, comma, the MRP, the cost of the bats, let's say. Just an example. Okay, now the last, let's say the weight in grams. Now add this to the data frame. We will create a new object and mention pandas, that is pd.dataframe. Within the brackets mention the data. That's it. We have added the data here. Now we have a data frame. We will add this data to our x and y coordinates. The x and y coordinates are the columns of the data frame. I told you. So out of the 3 columns, we will add 2 of them as an input. PLT, that means the following PLT, matplotlib dot plot, and within the brackets mention data frame, MRP, data frame, and the weight underscore grams column. Okay. Now display the figure like we did before. PLT dot show method will display a figure. That's it. Now I'll run it. Go to file, save all. We have set 2 columns for our x and y coordinates. Right click, run. Here it is. We have created our, we plot a line using pandas data frame. Okay, you can save it now from here. In this lesson we saw how we can easily plot a line using the pandas data frame. That is, the input set for the x and y coordinates were actually columns of the data frame. In this lesson we will learn how to add grid lines to a line graph in matplotlib. For that we will use the grid function. Like the previous lectures, we will create a line graph and set the input from a pandas data frame. After that we will add grid lines to our graph. So let us see an example. We are using the free and open source version of PyCharm, that is PyCharm Community Edition. create a new project, go to file, new project. Okay, you can add any name to your project, and here is the path of the project. Click create. Here is our project. Now right click on the project, new, click Python file, add a new file. I'll mention the name, you can add any name. The .py extension will get automatically added to this file, that is demo1.py. After I'll press enter. Okay, that's it. Now let us write the comment. Let us now import matplotlib, and we will also import the pandas library. Okay, because we need an input for our line graph, that would be a pandas data frame. Let us import both. We have imported both the libraries and also added alias for each of them. Now let us add our data for the line graph. So I'll create a new object, data, and within this I'll add 3 columns. I have added the first column with the 6 values. Now the second column would be the price of the bat. First is the bat manufacturer's name. Now I've added the MRP, and the last I'll be adding weight of the bat. Okay, that's it. We have our record here. I'll add this to our data frame using, let's say I'll create a new object, data frame. Pandas means pd.dataframe. Okay, and within that mention this data, the following data. That's it. We have created our data for input. Now we will plot a line graph. Okay, plt.plot. Plt is the following pyplot submodule. Within that mention the input, that would be a data frame MRP column. For the x-axis, and data frame weight underscore grams column for the second y-axis. Now add grid lines, that would be plt.grid. Okay, this will add your grid. That's it. Now to show it, plt.show. That's it. We have added the show function. Now the line graph will get displayed with the grid line. Okay, we have also mentioned the show method. File, save all, right click, run. Now you can see we have added a grid line to our graph. You can also save the figure from here. Okay, in this way guys, we can easily add grid lines to our graph using the grid function. Thank you for watching the video. In this lesson we will learn how to add labels to a plot in matplotlib. So we just created some line graphs in the previous lectures, and we have plotted the x and y axis, but we did not added labels. Okay, first let us understand what is a label in a line graph or scatter plot or pie chart. Okay, so when you work on data visualization, let's say in data analysis, so you create such graphs, line graph, scatter plot, pie chart, histogram. Okay, on these graphs you need to also add labels. Here I am showing an example of a line graph. The line graph is created properly, no issues, but the labels are not added. Labels get added here. I have shown it using arrows. Okay, without the labels a graph is of no use, because if a user is referring to a graph, if he is not having an idea that what this line represents, okay, like the y or x axis, what does that represent, then this graph is of no use. So in the previous lectures we did not added any labels because we are showing it now. So to add the labels for the x coordinates, we have the x label method in Matplotlib, and for the y coordinates we have the y label method. So this graph will look complete when these labels will get added. Let's see the example now. Live running coding example. We are using the PyCharm IDE. A free and open source PyCharm is also provided, that is called PyCharm Community Edition. We are using the same. Go to File, click New Project to create a new project. Here it is. Now add the project name. Let's say I added Matplotlib add labels. Plot, okay. It will get saved in the following location, no problem. Click create. We have created it. Now let us add a new file. Right click, new Python file. Add the name of the file. Let's say I'll add demo1. You can add any name. It will automatically add .py extension because Python file is by default selected. Press enter. On pressing enter, the file added .py, and when you will keep the cursor, the location of the file will be visible. No problem. Let us now begin with the example. First we will add the comments. Add labels to a plot in Matplotlib. Okay. At first we will import the Matplotlib and pandas library because the input we will get for our line graph will be a data frame. So let me quickly import both. We have installed both before. We have imported both Matplotlib and pandas. Now let us add a data for our data frame so that we can input them as our x and y axis coordinates for our line graph. Let me add an object name. So we have added two columns. First is a cricket bat and second the cost of the bat. Now let me add the last column. Here we have added weight underscore grams, that is the weight of our bat. The record for 6 bats are added. That's it. This is our data. Now create the data frame, create a new object. Pandas means pd dot data frame. That's it. Add the data in it. Now we will plot. We will plot using the plot method. Add the x and y input. That is the price. And weight underscore grams. That's it. Now we will set the labels. Okay, first let me display the figure without the labels. Okay, plt.show, that's it. Go to file, save all, right click, run. Now you can see there are no labels. The graph is perfect but the labels are not visible, so it's of no use. Close it. Now I'll add the labels here. Just before displaying the figure, you need to add the labels. Okay, PLT, that means the following PLT, which was our submodule. Alias for the submodule PLT dot X label, and within this mention your label. That means it was the bad price in US dollars. So I've mentioned it. Now plt.y label for our Y axis, that was bat weight. Okay, so you can understand it from here. The first was X axis, then the next was Y axis. X was MRP price and Y was weight underscore gram. That means the bat weight. That's it, nothing else. Right click, run. Now you can see the labels are visible, bat weight here and bat price. So this looks fine now. It is now easy to understand when you're working on data visualization. You can save it and the same picture will be visible. I'll show you again. Save the figure. Desktop, figure 1. Okay, close it. Minimize. Here it is, right click, open. And now you can see the labels are also visible perfectly, bat weight and bat price. So guys, we saw how we can add labels to a plot with Matplotlib. We have used the X label and Y label methods. Thank you for watching the video. In this lesson, we will learn how to plot titles and position them. That means let's say you are creating a graph or a pie chart. You need to add a title to it so that it's easier for a user to understand that what this graph belongs to. In data visualization, these things are really important. These small things like adding a label to a graph or a title to a graph is a must, and it's really important. Okay. Also, you can place the title in the center or on the left or right side of the graph. It's up to you. For that, Matplotlib has provided built-in functions like to add a title, you can use the title method. To place the titles, the LOC parameter is provided. Okay, so the arrows representing here shows that where you can position your titles, where you can position your plot titles. We have this line graph as an example. Labels are added, but the title can't be seen. A naive user won't be able to understand that what this graph is representing. Obviously, you can check that the bat price depends on bat weight, and we are comparing both and checking that how the price goes up when the weight of the bat is more. Okay, so you can add a title in the center, which is the default, or on the left or right side. Totally depends on you. So let us see how to add a title, then we will see an example. I told that to add a location you need the LOC parameter of the title method. If you want to set it on the left, use LOC is equal to left. On the right, use LOC is equal to right. If you want to place it in the center, then you don't need to use the LOC parameter because it is the default. You can directly use the title method and add your title. It will go and get placed in the center of the graph. And this method works for all the graphs, whether it's a scatter plot or a histogram, even a pie chart, a line graph, box plot, any of them. Okay, now let us see an example to set a title and its position on a line graph in Matplotlib. Here we have our PyCharm ID. We are using the free and open source PyCharm Community Edition. Create a new project. Go to File, New Project. Add the project name. Okay, you can add any name. Now the project will get saved in the following location. Click Create. We have created the project. Now let us add a Python file. Right click on the project and click Python file. Now you just need to add the name of the file and it will automatically add the .py extension because Python file is by default selected. Press enter. On pressing enter, now the file is visible and the extension is also visible, demo1.py. On keeping the cursor, the location of the file is visible. Now let us begin the example. At first we will import the matplotlib library as well as the pandas library, because the input for the matplotlib graph we will get from pandas. That is our pandas data frame. Import both of them. Now let us create the data for a data frame. For that I'll create a new object. Now I'll add 3 columns for a data. Let's say I added the cricket bat, its MRP as well as the weight. This is added for 6 bat manufacturers, and here it is. This I have set the data for a data frame. To create the data frame, use the data frame method. I have created a new object data frame. Now I'll type pandas, that is pd dot data frame, that's it, and I'll place the data in it. I have placed this data in it. Now I'll plot a line graph using the plt.plot, that means the following plt, subplot pyplots alias plt, and within this I'll add the coordinates for x and y axis. Okay, we have added weight underscore grams for the y coordinates. For the y axis, that is y coordinate. Now we can also set the labels for the x and y coordinates. Okay, this is for x and this is for y. Add the text for the labels. Okay, I have added. Now the title. Now mention the title you want to add, then mention the location using LOC parameter is equal to left. Okay, now mention the title. Let's say I'll mention bad price depends on the weight, that is bad price depends on the bat weight. That's it. Now display using the same pyplot.show, that means plt.show, and that's it. We have added a title on the left. We will also change the position later on. Go to file, save all, right click and run. Okay, here it is. I've mentioned on the left. Okay, now I'll close it. Let's say I'll mention on the right. Right click, run. Visible on the right. Now what about the center? For that, first I'll close this and I'll remove them. Now it will be displayed in the center. In the center, right click, run. Here it is, visible in the center. Okay, you can save it now. You can save it now. Let me set to the left again. Visible on the left. Okay, in this way guys, you can easily set the title on the left, right or center using the LOC parameter of the title property. Okay, as shown here, you need to use the LOC parameter of the title method. Thank you for watching the video. In this lesson, we will learn how to add a matplotlib legend in a graph. We will also see an example. To add a matplotlib legend, we use the legend function. Now first, what is a legend? You must have seen in a graph, for representation a box is mentioned, maybe on the left or right. Okay, that box displays some information about the graph, that is the data from the columns. Okay, it actually helps the readers in understanding about the graph. Okay, we will see an example in which we will plot the frequencies of a signal, and then we will also display the legend. Let us see the example. We have this free and open source PyCharm community edition. First we will create a new project. Go to file, new project, click on it. Now add the name of the new project. Matplotlib legend. Okay, you can add any name, and this is the location of the project. Click create. We have created the project. Now we will create a new Python file for our legend example. We have created a project. Now we will create our first Python file in it. Right click, new, then click the Python file. Enter the name of the Python file. Let's say I'll add demo1. When I'll press enter, it will automatically add a .py extension because Python file is by default selected. Here it is. And when you'll keep the cursor, the location of the file will also be visible. Now let us run our program. We have written the comments also. Now let us add import matplotlib so that we can work on our matplotlib program. We will plot the frequencies of a signal, let's say. We will set the data now. For our data, we will use NumPy, so let us import NumPy also. We will create an array here. Get the data from an array. So NumPy dot arrange method, and we have mentioned the value 5. This will create an array for us. This will create an array with evenly spaced elements as per the interval. Now we will set two more values. B is equal to and C is equal to 9. That's it. Now we will create plots. Dot figure. This is used to create a new figure, and PLT is the following, our pyplot submodule. Now use subplot. This is for the axis of the current figure. We have set it using a new variable AX. We will use it to plot. So mention AX dot plot. This will be for frequency, and the following will be for periods. Okay, I'll set the value input for our plot a comma b, that means the following AB. Okay, then I'll set the marker for our legend and the label also. The example we have shown for the legend, I'm representing that only. This will represent a dashed line, black color dashed line. Okay, this is the marker, and the label we have set is frequency. Now set for periods. So for periods we have taken A and C values. And what about your marker? Here it is, and the label will be periods. So we have created our legends in this way. So we have set our values. Okay, k colon This is a marker that represents a black line and dotted. Okay, this means a dotted line style. Now create a legend. Use the ax dot legend method, that is the axis, and this will create your legend. You can also set the plot title. I have mentioned before that you should always add a title, else users won't be able to understand about your graph. Frequency of a signal. Okay, now display the figure using the, I told you, using the pyplot submodule, that is plt alias dot show. That's it. Now when I'll run it, you will be able to understand what we did. File, save all, right click, run. Here it is, we have set it, and this is a legend. In the upcoming lessons we will understand how we can position them, color them, but right now this is a basic one with the black color. Frequency and periods are visible, and here is a legend. Okay, in this way guys, we can easily create a legend. We created a legend using the legend function. Okay, we have set the frequency and periods in a box, that is a legend. Thank you for watching the video. In this lesson we will learn how to position matplotlib legend. Okay, we saw how to create a legend using the legend method, but we can easily position them on the left, right or center using the LOC parameter of the legend method. So set the value of the LOC parameter to the following, so that you can easily position the legend. Like this, we have positioned the legends here on the left and in the center like this. Similarly, we can set the following values for the LOC parameter, like upper left, upper right, lower left, lower right, also upper center, lower center, center left, center right and center. So we can position it anywhere. I have mentioned that where we can position the legends. These are the values which can be used for the LOC parameter. If you want to position the legend at the corresponding corner of the figure, then use the upper left, lower left and lower right. If you want to position the legend at the center of the corresponding edges of the figure, then use the upper center, lower center, center left or center right values of the LOC parameter. If you want to directly place it in the center, use the center value, that is the string. Okay, we will see an example to create a graph and then we will set the legend and its position. Let's see the example. Here we are using the PyCharm ID. It has provided a free and open source version, PyCharm Community Edition. We are using the same. Let us create a new project. Go to File, New Project. Mention the name of the project. I have mentioned the name. You can add any name and it will get saved in the following location. No problem. Click Create. We have created our project. Now we will create a new Python file so that we can run our program and position matplotlib legend. Here it is. Now I'll right click on the project and new Python file. Add the name of the Python file. Let's say it's demo1. It will automatically add the .py extension because the Python file is by default selected. Press enter. Here it is. Now guys, what we will do, we will run our program. First let me write the comments. Here it is. We will position the matplotlib legend. So let me import matplotlib first. We will also import numpy to get the input. Now guys, set the data. Okay, here we have set the first data. First we have created an array using the arrange method. Then we have set two more values using the B and C variable. Okay, this will be our input. Now create plots using the figure method. Let's say fig is equal to plot, that is plt.figure. This plt is the same pyplot submodule. This will create a figure and now set the axis plt.subplot. This will set the axis of the current figure. Now plot using the plot method. We are showing the frequency of signals, that is for frequency we will use the following. We have taken A and B here, and here we will take A and C, let's say. Okay, after that we will set our marker, so it will be a black line and dashed because we have set this. Then the label for frequency. After that we will set K colon, that will be for dotted. K is our black line and this will be a dotted line. Okay, label would be period. This is the label. This is the label. Okay, now we will set the legend. We have used the legend method. Now the LOC parameter, and let's say I'll set it to upper center. That's it. Display the figure. plt.show. We can also add the title. Plot title plt.title frequency of a signal. This is fine now. Title, right click, run. Here it is. We have set it. We have set the legend at the following location, upper center. You can change it if you want. We can use any of the values, 9 values. Okay, let me set it to lower center, let's say. In this lesson we will learn how to change the background color of the legend in Matplotlib. So in the previous lectures we saw how to add a legend to your graph. We also saw how to position it. Now we will see how to change the background color. For that, Matplotlib has provided a built-in function set_face color. Use this function and easily change the background color of the legend. We will try to change the color and we will see an example wherein we have set the frequency and periods. Let's see the example. We are using the PyCharm IDE. It has a free and open source version. PyCharm Community Edition, we are using the same. So let us create a new project in it. Go to File, New Project. Add the name of the project. Here we have set the name of the project and the project will get saved in the following location. Click Create. We have created the project. Now let us add a new file. Right click on the project, New Python file. It will automatically add the .py extension when you will press enter because Python file is by default selected. So I'll type demo1, press enter. You can add any name. It added the .py extension and on keeping the mouse cursor, the file location will be visible. Now let us write our code beginning with the comments. Here it is. Now import matplotlib and we will also import numpy. We will get one of the inputs from numpy. We will see later. Now let us set the data. First we will set a data using the arrange method. This will set an array. We will set two more. Here it is. We have set B and C, some random values for our data. Okay, now we will create plots. We will create a figure using the figure method. Okay, this will draw our figure. PLT is the following submodule and the alias for it. Now set the axis using the subplot. We have set the axis for the figure. Now we have set the A and B input for our plot. Okay, K will create a black line and the rest of them will create a dashed line. And here is the frequency. This is for the period of a graph. The input we will change it to, let's say, A comma C, and this we will also change colon. This will allow us to create a dotted line and label is period. Okay, now comes the main part. We will create a legend using the legend method. Okay, but let us assign it to a variable ax.legend. We will set the location of the legend now. Let's say upper center, and then set the background color. I hope you remember. We will use the set underscore face color built-in function. Type legend dot get underscore frame. Okay, this is the legend. We assigned the value and now we are setting the background color using the same legend dot underscore frame dot set underscore face color, and within this mention the color. Let's say we will set the red color. The last step, plot title plt dot title, frequency of a signal, and display using the same submodule alias plt dot show. That's it. Save all, file save all, right click, run demo1. Here we have set the legend background color to red. You can set it to any color using the set underscore face color method. So guys, we saw an example in which we created a line graph, and the legend for it we have set using the legend function, and the background color is set to red using the set underscore face color function. This is also a built-in function of matplotlib. Thank you for watching the video. In this lesson we will learn how to change the font size of the legend. In the previous lessons we saw what is a legend, how to add a legend in a graph. With that we also learned how to position a matplotlib legend, and we also changed the background color of the legend. Now to change the font size, use the same legend method, but within that use the font size parameter. So here is your legend. We saw how to change the background color. Now we can also resize the font size. We can increase or decrease it. Under the legend method, use the font size parameter, and within that add any of these values. If you want a smaller size, use the following. If you want a medium size, use medium. If you want a large size, larger than the medium size, then use the following. Let us see an example to understand it in a better way. Here we have our PyCharm ID. We are using the free and open source PyCharm Community Edition. Create a new project, file, new project. Name the project. Okay, we have named the project. You can add any name. And the location of the project is the following. Click create. We have created our project. Now let us add a new Python file so that we can run our program. Right click on the project, new Python file. Now add the project name. Let's say I'll add demo1. On pressing enter, it will automatically add the .py extension because the Python file is by default selected. Press enter. Okay, I have pressed enter. Now we will begin with the program. First, let us add a comment. Now import matplotlib. We will take one of the inputs as a numpy array. So I'll also import numpy. We have imported matplotlib and also added the subplot pyplot and created an alias plt. We will use them later to create a graph and to add a legend. Now import numpy. We have also created an alias for it. Now I'll set my data. Let's say an object. First, using numpy, I'll set an array. Then I'll take two more variables and I'll add some random values. Create plots. Now create the figure using plot.figure, that is using plt.figure. This plt is the same, that is the submodule pyplot. Set the axis. This will set the axis for our figure using the subplot. And now use the plot method to plot. Okay, we will add the input AB from here, and in this case we will add AC, let's say ANC, and after that mention the marker. Okay, so the following is a marker. This will create, K means the black line and the following means a dashed black line. This will create a dotted black line. Okay, and the label, one would be frequency and another one would be period. Okay, now we will create a legend. ax.legend. Within that, set the location, let's say upper center, and then comes your font size. Let's say I'll set it to XX large just to show an example. Now quickly set the plot title, plt.title, frequency of a signal, and display using the plt.show pyplot show method. That's it. Go to file, save all, right click, run. Here it is. We have set the size. Okay, here it is, the font size. Let me change it to, let's say, small. Now I'll right click and run. Stop and rerun. It's quite small, so I think medium would be better. Right click, run. Here it is. This looks fine. Okay. Frequency and periods. So in this way, guys, we can easily set the font size of our legend in Matplotlib. We have used the following font size parameter with any of these values. Thank you for watching the video. In this lesson, we will learn how to plot a bar graph in Matplotlib. So a bar graph represents the data in the form of rectangular bars. To create a bar graph in Matplotlib, there is a method bar. That is actually a method of the pyplot submodule, which we worked on in the previous lectures. We will see it again here. Okay, a bar graph is a pictorial representation using rectangular bars, and these are of different heights based on the value of data. Like an example is shown here. These bars represent the value of the data totally. So to understand the bar graph concept, here we will see an example and we will plot a bar graph for student and student marks. So let us see the example. Here we have our PyCharm ID. We are using the free and open source PyCharm Community Edition. Create a new project. Go to File, New Project. Okay, now add the name of your project here. Okay, you can add any name to your project. Now here is the location where your project will get saved. No problem, click create. Okay, here is our project. Create a new Python file, right click on the project, new Python file. Add the name of your project, and after that there is no need to mention the .py extension. It will automatically add it because the Python file is by default selected. Press enter here. On pressing enter, you can now see .py extension is visible and the path is also visible on keeping the cursor. Now let us create a bar graph. First, let us add the comments. Import Matplotlib. We have imported the Matplotlib library and pyplot is the submodule. We have also created an alias plt using the as keyword. Now we don't need to mention this again and again. Just mention plt. Also import numpy and create an alias because we will set the values using the numpy. That means we will add the x and y coordinates as an array value. So to create an array in Python, numpy will be used, the numpy array method. Let us see. So here we are adding the data for student. Okay, first beginning student numpy, that means the alias numpy.array method. Now set the values, that means the student's name. Let's say we will add for 6 students, add the names. Now for the student marks, so set another array numpy.array. This will be the input for our bar graph. Add the marks of these 6 students. Okay, we have added it. Now plot a bar graph. I told you we will use the bar method. Okay, so the x and y axis for our bar graph we will set using the student and marks. So we have set the bar method of our pyplot submodule, matplotlib submodule, and within this mention the student and marks. That's it. Okay, now set the labels also using the X label and Y label methods. We have shown this in the previous lectures. Do the same for Y, copy paste and mention Y label. Y would be marks. You can also set the title, plt.title, student marks, that's it, and display. Okay, that's it. File, save all, right click, run demo 1. We have shown our records in the form of a bar graph. You can easily check. These are rectangular bars of different height based on your data. So our data was student marks. You can save the figure from here. Also the title is visible, student marks, which we have set using the following. Okay, so guys, we saw how to create a bar graph. We created a similar bar graph here using the bar method. So the bar graph was a plot for student and student marks. In this way you can easily create a bar graph. In this lesson we will learn how to plot a pie chart in Matplotlib. First, let us understand what is a pie chart. A pie chart is displayed like this. A round pictorial form divided into slices based on your data. Let's say if you want to show how much percentage of people live in India, you can represent it as a pie chart. Like 25% people live in North India, 20% live in East, 30% live in South, and the remaining live in West. Okay, so these percentages can be set as a slice in a pie chart. To plot it, you can use the pie method. This is the built-in function provided by Matplotlib. So the same population data or any other data can be displayed like a pie chart to show that how much percentage of people live in a particular area, or how much runs are scored in a ground in a particular area, percentage. Okay, so to understand this, we will create a pie chart for players scoring runs in a match. But before that, let us see the parameters of the pie method. Some key parameters are shown here. In the first parameter, the wedge size will be displayed. The second is the labels parameter, that will include what you are actually representing in each slice. When we will see the example, the things will be more clear. And the third parameter will display a string that labels the wedges with their numeric value. The exact percentage value will be displayed using the auto PCT parameter. It will be in a percentage format. Okay, let us see the example. Here is our PyCharm ID. We have used the free and open source PyCharm community edition. Let us create a new project, file, new project. Name the project, let's say it will be Matplotlib PyChart. You can add any name to your project and the project will get saved here. Click create. We have created the project. Now let us add a new Python file. Right click, new Python file. Add the name of the file. We won't add the .py extension. It will get added automatically because here Python file is by default selected. Press enter. Now let us add the code. First we will add the comment. Let us begin by importing the Matplotlib library. We have imported the Matplotlib library and this is the pyplot submodule. We have also created an alias plt using as keyword. Now you don't need to mention the complete library and submodule again and again, just mention the PLT. Also import NumPy, because we will set the cricket player and his score using the NumPy array. Here it is. Import NumPy as NP. NP is an alias. Now we will set the data. So let's say beginning with the cricketer. Okay, I'll mention numpy.array and I'll create a new array for the records. I'll start with 6 records beginning with the name of the cricketers. Okay, 6 cricketers. Now start with the score. How many runs, or I can mention runs directly. Numpy.array. Okay. Now add the runs scored by these cricketers in a match. Then we will represent it using a pie chart. Here it is. Now plot a pie chart using the pie. Okay, plt.py. Plt is the same submodule alias plt. Runs will be represented in the form of a pie chart, and the labels are really important. Those percentage of runs were scored by which cricketer, that will be represented in the labels parameter. That means cricketer, it will automatically show you. That means you are working correctly with your code. And this is the format of the output. How many percentage? So I'll show you here. It will be visible in percentage, and after the decimal 2 values will be visible. That's why it is represented like this. Display the figure. plt.show. We can also set the title. Okay, file, save all, right click, run. Now let's see what will be visible. Here it is. I have shown you guys that. Let me show it like this. Okay, here is our pie chart. The title is set here using the title method. This is showing that John scored 12% of the runs. Tim scored 17% of the total runs. Amit scored 20% of the total runs. So this is how we represented it. The labels cricketer is showing the names Amit, John, Tim, Gary, Carl and Jacob. Runs is representing the percentage, calculated percentage, and this is our format of the output. Let's say it's 20.54%. When I'll set 3 here and I'll run, right click, run, stop and rerun. Now after the decimal 3 values will be visible because we have set 3 here. Okay, 1.2f would be fine. Right click, run. Okay, 20.50% of 54% of the runs are scored by Amit. 19.71% runs are scored by Gary. We have represented it using a pie chart, and this is the title. So in this way guys, we can use the pie method to represent a pie chart, create a pie chart. Guys, we created a pie chart using the pie method. This is the built-in method provided by Matplotlib. Thank you for watching the video. In this lesson, we will learn how to plot a line graph in Matplotlib. Okay, for that we have the plot method. Before that, let us understand what is a line graph. A line graph or a chart is used to compare two variables, that is on the x-axis or the y-axis. Okay, the horizontal axis are the x-axis and the vertical axis are y-axis. Okay, to plot it we use the plot method. Under this we need to set only the x and y points, that is the value of the x and y coordinates. Okay, let us see an example to understand the concept. Here we are using PyCharm. PyCharm has provided a free and open source version, PyCharm Community Edition. We are using the same. Create a new project here. File, new project. Add the project name. Let's say I'll add Matplotlib line graph. Okay. You can add any name and the location of the project is the following. Click create. We have created the project. Now we will create a new Python file. Right click on the project, new Python file. Now add the name of the Python file. Let's say we will add demo1. It will automatically add the .py extension, so you don't need to add it. Why? Because the Python file is by default selected. Press enter. Here is our demo1.py. Now let us first add the comments, then we will run the program. Now let us begin with importing Matplotlib. We have imported Matplotlib and we have also added the pyplot submodule and created an alias using the AS keyword. Now we can directly write PLT instead of writing the complete matplotlib.pyplot. We will also import NumPy since we will add the x and y values as a NumPy array. That's why we have imported NumPy and created an alias. Now set data to plot a line. First I'll begin with, let's say, months. Okay, numpy.array. I'll set the months here. .array method is used to create an array in NumPy. Let's say I'll set the months. Set rainfall. Let's say I'll set rainfall in millimeters and create an array again, and the rainfall will be set for all the months. Okay, so let me set some random values. 60 millimeter, 55, 40, 45, 70, 79. Okay, we have set the months and the rainfall in those months. These are x and y values. Okay, the two parameters are x and y axis and we will use the plot method. Simple plt.plot, that means matplotlib plt. This submodule alias plt.plot, and within that mention month and rain for your x and y axis. Okay, display the figure. Plt.show, the same plt. Okay, you can also set the plot title plt.title. Let me set rainfall in an year. Okay, month wise, each month we are showing. This is the title. Also set the labels, plt.x label and plt.y label. Months, rainfall in millimeter. That's it. File, save all. Right click and run. Now a line graph will be visible. That will show you the months and then the rainfall in those months in millimeter. We have represented using the line graph. You can save the figure from here. Okay, that's it. In this way guys, you can easily represent a line graph. The following month was the x-axis and rain was the y-axis. Guys, we saw how we can plot a line graph or line chart using the plot method. Thank you for watching the video. In this lesson, we will learn how to plot a histogram in Matplotlib. For that, we will use the built-in Matplotlib method hist. But first, let us understand what is a histogram. So if you want to represent frequency distributions, you can use the histogram in Matplotlib. Okay, so we can use the hist method as I have mentioned before. The hist also includes bins. Okay, you need to set the bins, that is you can consider as a range. Set it as an integer or a sequence. So we will create the following bins for our example: from 0 to 20, 21 to 40, 41 to 60 and 61 to 80. Okay, when we will see the example, then the things will be more clear. Here we will plot a histogram of marks by students. Here we have our PyCharm ID. PyCharm has a free and open source PyCharm community edition. We are using the same. Create a new project, go to file, new project, click on new project. Add the project name. Let's say I added the following name. And here is the location of the project. Click create. We have created the project. Now we will add our file, a new Python file. Right click on the project, new. Click Python file. Add the name of the file. Let's say I'll add demo1. You don't need to add the .py extension because the Python file is by default selected. Press enter. On pressing enter, now the file is visible. When you'll keep the cursor, the location of the Python file will be visible. Now let us add the program. First I'll set a comment. Now first import Matplotlib. Okay, we have imported Matplotlib and added a submodule pyplot. For this we have created an alias plt. We will also import numpy for the input. Import numpy as np. We will create an array using numpy. Now we will set the data. Okay, I will take an array. This will be the marks of students. Okay, let me set some random marks. Okay, we have set the marks of 20 students here. Okay, now plot a histogram. We have also set the bin. Okay, set plt.hist. Hist method I told you. This is the plt, the submodule, the alias for the submodule. Set the array here and then the bins. Okay, now the labels. First comes the x label. That is the x label. That is the label for the x-axis. Marks, student. student. Okay. Display the figure. Plot title, plt.title. Here is the plot title. Okay, we have set the plot title also, the label also, and now we will file save all. Okay, this is fine. X label marks and Y label student. File, save all. Right click run. Now here you can see the marks in students. You can see most of the students got more than 40 marks. Marks in this range. We can set one more bin and I'll run it. Rerun. Here it is. What I can do to explain the concept, let's say I'll set this to 87 and this to 95. Now what will happen? Right click run. Stop and rerun. This will explain you the concept completely. Here it is. Now you can check. Most of the student got marks in the range of 60 to 80, and after that comes your 40 to 60. Okay. So in this way, guys, you can plot a histogram. So guys, we saw how to plot a histogram using the hist method. We have also set the bin. Okay. Thank you for watching the video. In this lesson, we will learn how to draw a scatter plot in Matplotlib. For that, we need to use the scatter method. Let us first understand what is a scatter plot. So if you want to display the relationship between two variables, you can use scatter plot. As you can see in the image, a dot will represent each value in the data set. So here we have set the temperature and humidity, and the representations are shown using dots. Okay. To draw a scatter plot, we need to use the scatter method. Here we will see an example of the score of two cricket teams. The range of scores are set, that too of lower order batsmen. So let us see the example to understand the scatter plot concept. Here we have our PyCharm ID. We have used the free and open source PyCharm community edition. So let us create a new project. Go to file, click new project, add the name of the project. You can add any name to your project. Okay, and here is the location of our project. Our project will get saved here. Click create to create the project. So we have created the project. Now I'll create a new Python file. Okay, so that we can run our program. Right click your project, click new, and then click Python file. Now add the name of your Python file, demo1, let's say. So when you will press enter, the .py extension will get added because Python file is by default selected here. Press enter and the following will be visible. Our file got created. When you will keep the cursor, your path will also be visible, your file path, where this demo1.py is located. Now let us begin with the program. First, we will mention the comments. Draw a scatter plot in Matplotlib. Now first import Matplotlib. We have imported Matplotlib. Okay, and this is the submodule pyplot. We have created an alias so that we don't need to use this again and again. The AS keyword is used. We have used the PLT alias. Now let us set the data to plot. Score of two teams. Okay, let's say the score of the following teams. And for the second team, okay, now set the range for our scatter plot. We have set for lower order batsmen. So we are just mentioning the range for our plot. So let me make it a score range variable, and here it is. Okay, now plot a scatter plot using pyplot.scatter method. Now type plt.scatter. Okay, plt is the same, the submodule pyplot. Okay, mention the first score, team 1 score, then the score range, the following range, and in the end the color using the color parameter. So I'll set color R for the dots, that means red. Now do the same for the second one. Here in set team 2 score, range is fine and color is B, that is blue. Now the dots will appear in red and blue form. Set the labels using plt.x label and plt.y label. First would be team score and y label would be score range. Score range, okay. Now display the figure. Again we will use the plt, that is the submodule alias dot show, that's it. You can also set the title, plot title, okay. Use the same plt dot title and set the title easily. Let's say I'll set it to score of 2 teams. Done. File, save all, right click, run demo1. Now here is a scatter plot. Blue and red dots are visible. The y-axis is score range and x-axis is team score. Red was for team 1 score and blue was for team 2 score. So in this way guys, you can create your scatter plot, and this is our title. Guys, we saw how to create a scatter plot in Matplotlib. We have used the scatter method and we have also set the range.